if you have a camper van and you had it converted by a company or did a DIY van build, you want to watch this video because you're going to want to make sure you do this one thing as soon as your van build is done before you start traveling. Now, this is going to vary from state to state. We are in Idaho, so we're going to show you exactly how it works here. You'll definitely want to check with your own DMV and your own local laws and all that good stuff. And it's actually changed in Idaho over the last few years. It used to be pretty simple. You would just go to the DMV, and now it's a little bit more complicated, but we're going to show you how we are getting our van titled as an RV. Now, there's a couple reasons why you want to do this. Number one, if you plan on having any alcoholic beverages in your vehicle, you want it registered as an RV. It is not legal to drink in a vehicle, so you don't want to end up getting a DIY by sitting in the back of your van and having a glass of wine at the end of the day. That's technically illegal, so you do need to have your van registered as an RV and titled as an RV. So that's what we're doing today. We are heading to the DMV.
Put me in focus. Great point. And we're not talking about when you're driving. We're talking about like a campsite, or if you're in like a parking lot or somewhere like that. You can't have an open container in a car, but in an RV you can when you're parked. The other big reason is for insurance purposes. It can make it easier to insure your vehicle if you've already retitled it as an RV. So those are the two big reasons. And like Sarah said, the process changed a little bit from the last time we did this a couple years ago. This time we went to the DMV and they actually gave us the business card of a state inspector. We had to contact the state inspector, set up an appointment. She came out, did a 5-minute inspection of the vehicle, filled out some paperwork, which now we have to take back to the DMV so we can pay our RV registration, get an additional sticker that we'll put on the back, and we'll be good to go.
So yes, part of this process is getting the vehicle retitled. So it has just been a vehicle, but now that the conversion is done, we are going and getting it titled as an RV, because technically this is an RV, and then we can switch our insurance over to RV insurance. That way it will cover the cost of the vehicle plus the conversion, which is really important, especially if you had somebody build a van for you. You probably spent a lot of money on it, so you want to make sure it's insured for the value that you paid for it. So we got this slip from that RV inspector. We're just taking this in and paying a fee, $39 and $25 for the decal and $14 for the title fee. So what is that? 39, 25, 14. You do the math. And then we should be good to go. Wow, that was a process, not gonna lie.
That was supposed to be the quick part, and that still took like an hour.
Yeah. So now we're gonna sit down, recap what you should do if you are looking at changing your van to an RV, and we're gonna give you some tips and things that you wanna do before you go and try to do this. So we're gonna recap kind of the steps here. If you wanna change your van and retitle it to an RV and then insure it as an RV. If you are getting a van converted, whether you're doing it yourself or having a builder do it, step number one is don't do anything up front. Insure it just as a vehicle, because insurance companies are gonna be really confused if you're like, I'm getting this converted or I'm doing XYZ with my van. If it's not finished yet, they're not going to be able to properly insure it or retitle it. So that's step number one. Build it out and then do all this at the end when it's done.
So once the van is done, step number two is contact your DMV, because every state does things a little bit differently. In Idaho, for example, we went to the DMV. They have an inspector for the area we live. They gave us their card. We contacted the inspector, scheduled an inspection. She came out, looked at the vehicle, took some pictures, filled out some paperwork to create a new title with our vehicle as an RV and the classification as a camper van.
Now again, if you are going to be having a nice alcoholic beverage like a glass of wine or a beer at the end of the day sitting in the back of your van, technically that's illegal if it's not titled and classified as an RV, so you definitely want to make sure that's something you're doing. Please do this. And then it does, for insurance purposes, make it easier once you do that. So then step number three, go into your DMV, fill out whatever paperwork needs to be done and get it retitled. There will be a fee associated with everything that we did with the, retitling, and the fees ended up being close to $200, and that's for also registering it as an RV.
I was going to say the registration is the big part. That's why we had to go back into the DMV, was essentially after they filled out the title paperwork, then we had to go re-register the vehicle as an RV, and every state's a little bit different there. For example, in Idaho, RV registration is only good for 1 calendar year. So even though we did this in July, our registration on this van is now going to expire in December.
And to be quite honest, they were a bit confused at the DMV. So if you get weird looks and people are like, wait, you want to do what?
Yeah.
Like, just keep going. We had to go into the DMV 3 days in a row to make this happen. I think with the popularity of van life, it is getting a little bit easier, but also states have changed the way they do it.
Yeah.
Idaho used to be pretty cut and dry and simple and just quick inspection at the DMV. And now they had like this special inspector that came to us and another new form and all this stuff. So it has changed over the years, but it should be a pretty simple process, and then you are good to go. So.
Now, one new thing that we ran into this time around when transferring the title to an RV is that we have a loan on this van, and so what the state actually wanted was documentation from the lien holder, aka the bank or credit union, saying that they were okay with this vehicle being retitled as an RV. And so we contacted our bank. Even they were a little confused up front, and then get an email, oh yeah, no problem, do this all the time. Here's the letter that the inspector is going to need, the state's going to need. And we got that, and then we took all of that paperwork after the inspector filled it out. We went back to the DMV, and she did one thing wrong on the form and classified our van as a truck. So then it took a whole extra hour to go and have them reset all of that. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, budget more time than you think you're going to need to get this done.
Truth. Hopefully this helped you if you want to do this process, and you probably should, especially when you go to resell it. It will just make it that much easier. If it's classified and titled as an RV, somebody could actually loan on the full amount of the van and the conversion inside. So it's a great thing to do if you have a van and you've done it yourself or had a builder do it. Hopefully this helped you do it for yourself.
Yeah.
So that's it for this video.
Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.